The Lord be with you. A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Matthew. Jesus told his disciples this parable. A man going on a journey called in his servants and entrusted his possessions to them. To one he gave 5 talents, to another 2, and to a third 1, to each according to his ability. Then he went away. Immediately the one who received 5 talents went and traded with them and made another 5. Likewise, the one who received 2 made another 2. But the man who received 1 went off and dug a hole in the ground and buried his master's money. After a long time, the master of those servants came back and settled accounts with them. The one who had received 5 talents came forward, bringing the additional 5. He said, "Master, you gave me 5 talents. See, I have made 5 more." His master said to him, "Well done, my good and faithful servant. Since you were faithful in small matters, I will give you great responsibilities. Come, share your master's joy." Then the one who had received 2 talents also came forward and said, "Master, you gave me 2 talents. See, I have made 2 more." His master said to him, "Well done, my good and faithful servant. Since you were faithful in small matters, I will give you great responsibilities. Come, share your master's joy." Then the one who had received the 1 talent came forward and said, "Master, I knew you were a demanding person, harvesting where you did not plant and gathering where you did not scatter. So, out of fear, I went off and buried your talent in the ground. Here it is back." His master said to him in reply, "You wicked, lazy servant. So you knew that I harvest where I did not plant and gather where I did not scatter. Should you not then have put my money in the bank so that I would have it back with interest on my return? Now then, take the talent from him and give it to the one with 10. For to everyone who has, more will be given, and he will grow rich. But from the one who has not, even what he has will be taken away. And throw this useless servant into the darkness outside, where there will be wailing and grinding of teeth." The Gospel of the Lord. I've asked Alden Murphy to do a little show and tell this evening, but first I want to start out with 2 basic questions. Number 1, what is your image of God? And number 2, what do you understand by the meaning, the phrase, fear of the Lord? In the church of my baptism, St. Helena, in the Olney section of Philadelphia, there's a huge rose window behind the back altar with an image of God the Father. He's an old man with a white beard sitting on a cloud. As a child, it was an image that was a bit frightening. But as a teenager, my heart opened up to an intimate relationship with the Creator of the universe, who reached out to me in love. The frightening image of God faded as I became awed by that love. And I wanted passionately to return God's love. Biblical scholars tell us that 1 talent today would be valued at over $1 million. The servant in the gospel who was given the 1 talent never let go of his frightening image of the master. He saw him as a punishing master, as a demanding man, which caused him to act, or rather not to act, out of his negative fear. And so he buried the treasure that the master had given him. On the other hand, the first 2 servants had a relationship with the master that caused them both to make a good return on the treasure that was entrusted to them. All of us fear to disappoint those whom we love. And in the same way, in a positive way, those 2 servants feared disappointing their master. They wisely built on the treasure that had been entrusted to them. So now I'd ask Alden to come forward, and I want her to share with you her neat little Jacob's ladder. But more importantly, I want her to share a little of her passion to build on and care for the treasure that God has entrusted to her and to us all. Alden. Yeah, take off the mask. Yeah.
So, I'm Alden Murphy, and probably most of you already know me. I've been very interested in sustainability and keeping the earth clean, and I made this Jacob's Ladder toy for a competition on combining science and art. So one side shows the effects of climate change, and the other side shows the causes of climate change. And
so interested in the climate, and now going to Johns Hopkins University for a master's in material science engineering. What do you hope to do with that?
So my goal in my studies and my future career is to help reduce greenhouse gas emissions and pollution. I would like to develop a biodegradable alternative to plastics, which can be produced sustainably. It's unrealistic to think that everyone's trash will stay out of the environment, which we can see when we go down to the beach. Plastics that we only use once before discarding, like straws, eating utensils, and to-go boxes, remain in the environment for centuries. So we need an alternative product that's safe for the environment and decomposes quickly. And there's already a lot of research on the topic of bioplastics. And I think that we need to take responsibility now. And there's so many resources for you to learn more about pollution and climate change, like noaa.gov. And I'll be here after Mass if you want to see my Jacob's Ladder or ask me any questions.
Wonderful, amazing. Thank you, Alden. Yeah. That's good. That clapping is good, because in the book of Proverbs that we heard in the first reading says that we should praise the woman who fears the Lord. And Alden absolutely feared coming up here. But because of her passion, because of her love for God's creation, she took the risk of coming before you. And that's a wonderful thing. And, sadly, again, referring to the book of Proverbs, Alden just broke up with her boyfriend. So I don't think she's quite ready to become a worthy wife. But she is already on her way to becoming the ideal woman that the book of Proverbs envisions. The ideal woman's whole life is rooted in God's wisdom, which means it's rooted in God's creation. She understands how to be in good relationship with creation, how to use it for good, and how to make it a gift for others. As we hear in the book of Proverbs, she reaches out to the poor. All of us, like Alden, like the people in today's readings, are called to use wisely the treasures that God has entrusted to us. This requires us to look at our image of God. Do we have a true fear of displeasing God that brings reverence and awe and love, that inspires us to use God's treasures wisely and for the common good? Or do we have this false fear of the Lord that is rooted in a misunderstanding of a punishing God that keeps us paralyzed and causes us to doubt our abilities? Those who know the love of the Creator will want to please the Creator and be good stewards of God's creation. Given the state of our world today, it's not an easy thing to do. But as followers of Jesus Christ, we can value community over selfishness, generosity over greed, justice over power, science over conspiracy theory. We can move toward being good stewards of this common home that God has entrusted to us. If not us, who? If not here on Tybee, where? If not now, when? And if not for love of the Creator, why? Let us give our best efforts to being God's good and faithful servants. Amen.